Hello, friends, and welcome back to the S.S Bandwagon. I'm still Kaylie.
And I'm Ian. You know what we're doing today?
What are we doing today, Ian?
Dun 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 dun.
Is that 15 seconds? Will we get copy striked if we sing that? So welcome back to episode 2 of the SS Bandwagon, where today, as we attempt to dig up old bandwagons and ships that have sailed, we're here talking about the Indiana Jones saga of movies, and what a time they are and have been, and hopefully will continue to be as treasured pieces of cinema.
Haha, we're kind of like archaeologists ourselves digging up this series. No.
Anyway.
So we're talking about 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yup, you heard it here first. We are going to try to defend Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Which a lot of people jump on as the worst one in the trilogy, or quadruple series. What do you call a quartet of movies?
Quadrology.
A quadrology? Whatever it might be. Because I remember watching it when it initially came out and having strong feelings about it. Like, I really like the aliens aspect of it, and I still,
We
still want to...
stand the aliens. We stand the aliens.
I still want to believe. But it did kind of feel at the time not like an Indiana Jones movie. But then going back and watching it later, I think we've got a pretty strong case for it. But we're going to come back and talk about that later, because first, to get to 4, we got to talk about 1 through 3. So as we dive into our Indiana Jones reviews and criticisms and whatnot, archaeological findings, as we go down with this ship, we each have a little splash of beverage. So,
Ching.
Cheers to that.
Just as much as Marion drinks in
Truly.
Our opening scene with her. That's what we got here. We don't have nearly as many shot glasses between us.
No, I don't think I could even...
We could try. That's what we should have done. We should have been like, wow, can we drink the whole bottle of gin?
The Marion Ravenwood challenge.
Can you knock unconscious the big bald man who's been drinking since, he got here? Find out. We got some things to talk about. Number 1, spooky dig sites.
Spooky dig sites.
Number 2, bugs and creepy crawlies.
Ew. I thought we were going with the camp thing.
Yeah, we're going for the camp thing.
We're going for the camp theme. And
Number 3, the sort of like weird, sexy sexism, the weird like chauvinistic, but like thrown right back at him behavior, because that's a pretty 1980s staple.
Yeah.
And then one of our favorites, the quest for knowledge and the quest for greed, and like the greed talking. We're gonna do that.
Yeah, and sort of as like a an honorary mention, number 5, the question of the being beyond being human, whether it is whether it's a spooky ghost or an actual deity or aliens, or are the aliens actually a god of some sort? Like that sort of attachment to the trope of the Indiana Jones movie, that there is always something they've come to find out at the end of the quest. There is always something that is bigger than being human at the end of the search.
So, number 1, I'm pretty sure I said spooky dig sites.
Yes, you did.
So basically how a lot of these movies start is that idea of like, they're in a scenario and they gotta get out of that somehow.
Oh no.
The first one is the temple that's somewhere in... It's probably South America.
I was say, we start in South America. Start in South America and we end in South America.
How fitting.
Truly. But
actually, we end in a church somewhere in like
spoilers.
California.
Oh yeah, reminder, because these movies have been out for however knows long. Spoilers ahead. Just throwing that tag up there. Choo choo choo.
Or no, wait, boat noise.
Spoilers ahead.
But the idea of the tricky traps and the like overly complicated things that maybe some archaeologists would be like, yeah, that's totally doable, but me as just a person watching, I'm like, how the heck is that trap still even remotely functioning?
How has that wood not rotted after hundreds of years?
It's like, oh, and okay, and one of the easiest ones that I can nitpick straight away is the like, don't go into the light in our first movie of like the temple. He's like, ooh, don't touch the light because then the spikes come out and stab you and you're like,
oh, yeah.
One, how? Mm-hmm. Two, where's that light coming from? Three, literally nothing has changed in the 2000 is probably too much, probably more like 1,000 years that this has been a temple. Who knows? But
my question on that sort of similar in the puzzles of the temple that leads to the Holy Grail, the blades that come swinging down, I'm like, how are those still sharp? No one has tended to those.
What?
No one has been grinding the axe, polishing and sharpening that blade.
Perhaps there has. I mean, there is the whole like sacred order of the
That's true.
of the Grail. I don't
So
remember what
just
they actually.
They come in for monthly maintenance.
They wet the. See that, and I mean, I guess in all of these there is like the group of like savages or like
the people that inhabit the
uncivilized
space.
brutes.
Yeah.
They're heavy air quotes there. I realize that this is
Sarcasm.
an audio only format.
Sarcasm doesn't always translate well over just audio podcast, and we're both very sarcastic.
But the idea that this is this group of people that have been like here taking care of this thing, so maybe that's what is happening. My favorite thing about that trap, though, the Last Crusade Grail passage, is that it's very obvious that nobody has actually made it past the first one.
Oh yeah,
like maybe the knight originally, but like Indiana Jones is the first person to actually make a mistake in the second room.
Oh yeah,
because none of the other floor things are missing.
All the floor tiles are still there.
So either everybody knows exactly how to spell Jehovah, no problem, or
I always think it's going to be Yahweh. Like, I've watched The Last Crusade a couple of times, and I always think for some reason it's supposed to be Yahweh instead of Jehovah, and I don't, or Adonai. I think my Hebrew school origins have made me go to Adonai first. I'm like, that's not how you spell God. Oh, wait, it's this version.
See, I think I would still be stuck on, like, D-E-O, because they're, like, Latin, like, God's name in Latin. It's like, Deo? Like, isn't that where we get deity and all that?
Deus
I don't know. Like, I mean, yeah,
Deus Vult.
Where's this Jehovah coming from? Like, like, maybe in some place, but not the ones I know.
But yeah, you're right. Like, there's...
And then, okay, and there's our another one, Temple of Doom. You've got that mine cart set up.
Oh my God.
That you're sort of like, who used this? There's like a section that like is above lava that they've built up with like railways and things. And you're like, how? Who did this? Who built this?
So one of the things that we've like talked like behind the scenes, just getting ready to do this episode, and as we've watched the movies, has been commenting on the campy and pulp nature and that those movies were made under and inspired by. Oh, yeah. So like, obviously it's sort of this like, we understand that like, yeah, this isn't realistic, but it's always really fun to pick apart those questions about like, if this is true, then what else? Kind of improv-y. So yeah, my question then would be, who the hell built those tracks in the first place over the lava? Not just that they're still there and haven't been burnt away, but who came down there and built it?
It's a very like Minecraft sort of place
where
it's like, oh yeah, we just built this mine in lava. Okay, who did?
Redstone engineers.
But yeah, the Redstone engineers. But you know, I approach this also RPG wise. Mm-hmm. So the idea of like, in some ways, this is a DM going, yeah, there's lava underneath, and everyone sort of going, how though?
There's just lava.
There is, because I needed another spooky element in
and
this
you
place.
keep outsmarting and crit successing my traps.
Yeah.
So screw you.
You just dropped wood on the track and it killed like half of the enemies coming after you, and I feel kind of cheated by that. Even though, as the DM, I should have thought about that because I was building a minecart path. Like, I was making this enemy really obvious.
I'm seeing this, going back to the first movie, I'm seeing the fight in the bazaar now as a DM, and very, like, asshole players when they go, okay, here's a mini boss. This guy comes at you.
He's swinging his swords.
Yeah.
He's dressed all in black. He's got a red sachet. He's swinging his sword all around, and he challenges you.
The rogue goes, I pull out my pistol, and I shoot him right in the chest.
You what?
I pull out my pistol, and I shoot him right in the
I
chest.
forgot I gave you a gun.
And I roll a dice, and I get a natural 20.
Fine, you shoot him dead. He's dead. Great. Good job.
That's how that scene plays out if you're playing Indiana Jones D&D.
Well, and also, in a similar sense, there's the scene during Temple of Doom where they're sitting around the campfire playing poker.
Oh my God.
What's her name? Lady in Red is, I will call her.
I already forgot her name.
I don't remember her name.
She's not Marion, so I don't remember her.
Yeah. She's not the girl from the last movie, so who knows?
She's not
what her
my
name
favorite,
is.
so I don't remember.
It's not Short Round, so who cares? He's the only
Honestly,
character that matters in that movie.
The whole time in the second movie, if you're not Short Round, I really don't care. Like,
Harrison Ford, sorry, you got beat out.
I love you, Harrison. I love you. You did some great work. But Short Round, he's got something special. I want an entire spin-off franchise about Short Round, but I also don't, just because of the market of live action and sequel and remakes that we're in, I think would just disgrace it more.
It's disappointing he's not in the fourth one, honestly. That was one of the people that you sort of miss from the fourth one.
Right, there'd be a callback to him somewhere.
He's not dead, is he, that actor?
I don't know. I really don't. I hope not.
I know he was in the Goonies. That's all I... Okay,
Yeah.
but going back, that poker game between those two, while a woman is running and screaming, it brings me back to the first Dread that we ever played.
Oh
where
my God.
one person is venturing and seeing all this spooky stuff while the other players are sitting back and playing Go Fish. And it...
You got any fours?
And I don't think I had ever realized while playing that game that it was a direct echo of this idea of, oh, you're in the spooky cave while this is happening. Okay, we pull out a set of cards, start playing Go Fish. They're playing poker, and she's losing her mind.
She's running into animals all through the
single
forest.
Animal, and the only animal she's unfazed by is the snake when it like wraps around her, and she's like, ugh, elephant.
Yeah.
You're like,
Indiana Jones has a minor existential crisis.
yeah. Any other like spooky dig sites?
Spooky dig sites. Speaking of like, why aren't these traps working? Like, why are they still working? I love the call, like jumping ahead to the fourth one now, when Indiana Jones and his son Shia LaBeouf go to Shia LaBeouf. I know his name is.
I don't think they could even whisper into that.
Shia LaBeouf.
Shia LaBeouf.
Like, I know his name is Mutt, but
It's Mutt? I thought it was Mike.
No, it's Mutt. Like, it's one of those he named himself because he is Henry Jones III.
I was not listening very well.
It was on his
clearly.
jacket.
Was it?
It says Mutt.
I thought he said his name. I don't know.
Nope.
Oops.
But
Clearly, I was paying attention. Super core.
It's another callback to the fact that Indiana picked his name because that was the dog's name. Like Indiana says at the end of the third one.
Because he's Mutt.
Yeah,
It's a
that's
dog
Indy going.
name.
I liked Indiana, and it's sort of this callback to that if he's calling himself Mutt, like father, like son.
That is a callback.
I pay attention, but yes, there's that moment when they're sneaking into the cradle, quote unquote, to find the conquistadors where Ox returned the skull. And Shia LaBeouf just goes, all right, here's a ladder going down. And all the steps fall apart.
And he drops the lantern. It is like such a good pratfall. It
Yeah.
is such a good just like, thwack.
Like-
It goes totally wrong. I climb the ladder, rolls a 1, you don't. And the ladder falls apart. You're an idiot.
I think that's also
him.
why, like, through a lens of coming back to look at the fourth movie almost 10 years later, it makes me appreciate it a lot more, just because this is a chance for not only the original sort of creative mindset and style, but the new writers to come in and say, well, we can comment on these kind of things just a little bit. Because very rarely in the other Indiana Jones films do those tools to solve the puzzle fail. Yeah. Whereas here's a moment where they can go, yeah, this wood's been sitting out here for like several hundred years, just in whatever weather's been going on, but it's still standing. Put any weight on it? I don't know about that. And this is that moment to call that reality into attention, which I like as a nice little nod.
Yeah.
Of just, yeah, no, we know this might not work. There are some things the universe just can't explain about Indiana Jones, but we're here anyway. We put on the fedora and grab the whip anyway.
Yep. That's a good line. There we go. Will you grab your whip and fedora today? What was the second one?
That's the motivational quote of the day, kids.
Grab your whip, grab your fedora, and you go have an adventure, you silly son of a bitch.
That's like my favorite. That's my favorite line in the fourth movie. Is they're motorcycling out of the library. Is if you're gonna be an archaeologist, if you want to be a good archaeologist, you gotta get out of the library. It's such a nice little motivational quote. I don't think they intended it to be, but I really like it.
But I think it's a good motivational quote. But it's also combined with his in the same movie like sequence in some ways. Like, you're a teacher, part time, as he's holding whip and gun and like
he just
looking
blow darted a man
with his own blow dart,
right.
Which. You know, you gotta question how willing that person was to blow dart somebody if he wasn't able to.
If you accidentally hit your breath in, you're gonna die.
Yeah, it's like I don't think that's how that works necessarily. But I also don't design blow darts.
Yeah, poison blow darts.
Ooh, spooky.
I'm trying to think of other trap pitfalls that because we don't get a whole lot of traps in the second movie. Like, we get the mine carts.
We don't, but we do get some fun trap scenarios, such as the plane going down and the life raft.
Oh my god.
Which is, okay, we have to watch these movies, you cannot be a physicist.
You really
it's
can't.
One of those,
you
rules.
cannot be Adam Savage on Mythbusters.
Yeah.
You'll have an aneurysm.
Actually, no, I think he could be Adam Savage.
I think
because he's the one that's sort of like, wow!
Yeah, he cosplays, so yeah, he's got to be somewhat loosey-goosey.
You can't be... No, they're all like that. You can't be a person who watches Mythbusters and goes, I wish they would stop having fun. Like, if you watch Mythbusters, and if you're a person that watches Mythbusters and you go, I wish they would stop having fun and just do the experiment.
Do the science.
I want to see them blow up. But for science, not for my own
I want them
pleasure.
to prove that this fictional thing can't happen because I like taking fun away from other people.
If that's the sort of person you are... If that's the sort of person you are not going to enjoy Indiana Jones.
Do not watch.
Because the level of pulp and ridiculousness is over the top. And I think people that watched the fourth movie and called it crap.
Yeah.
And called it like, this is an Indiana Jones, hadn't actually seen the first three in a while.
No.
Because those movies are chock full of this stupid, why would this ever work? Like people complain about the fridge being a successful operation. Man, they dive out of a falling plane in a life raft that hasn't even inflated yet. First, it's got to inflate by the time they hit the ground.
Right.
Second, that's got to not kill them, sort of drop.
You're hard impacting snow on a mountaintop.
And then it's got to go all the way down And that's not going to cause an avalanche, too.
Right.
Like, you're hitting snow that is on top.
Because that plane crashes right into the ravine.
Like, it blows up. Like, that is, this should be an avalanche. This is an avalanche.
The thing I hate about that sequence is the fact that there are still chickens on that plane.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of fried chicken littering.
There's just fried chicken rains down from the sky.
It's like, It's like in Minecraft when a chicken dies from fire. There's like there's the little cooked chickens. That's all over the mountainside.
I don't like it.
Also, the amount of fuel that plane just loses. Like maybe I don't know enough about planes, especially planes built in 1930s.
We don't know about magnets. We don't know about planes.
We don't know a lot. We don't know a lot about things. That sentence sounded a bit weird, but we don't know a lot about things like real things. We know about narrative structures and things.
Yeah.
I could talk your ear off about like the Aristotelian level of plot and stuff.
Yeah.
But what I don't know about is planes, especially the button in the plane that says "Get rid of all the fuel while we're flying." I feel like that button doesn't exist. I feel like that's a weird button to have.
Did he get rid of the fuel?
That's what happens. He clicks a button and it just empties. There's the shot of the fuel just like being shot out of the plane.
I forgot about that.
And it's one of those like, one, how did that plane get past health and safety? It's a 1930s Chinese plane.
1930s
So of course
plane.
they have that button that just ejects fuel from the plane in case you need to like suicide mission a thing.
Oh. No,
Not suicide, I guess, because they jumped out. But in case you need to lose a plane.
You just lose
But it
one.
is Chinese, not Malaysian. Hey yo, that's an old joke. Okay, let's switch topics
well,
right
no,
now
I
because
was
I've
gonna
said too many like really discriminatory things in a row.
Well, and the other thing on the traps that I was going to talk about, or like the impossible stunts from the traps, is literal like people that think that Indiana Jones is not campy and is not, well, that doesn't make any sense. Literally the first scene, the boulder scene, like, I think in theory that whip should not have been able to hold long enough for him to climb out of almost falling into the pit before he can escape the boulder.
That's not even a pit. That's the.
That's the spike pit at the bottom.
Yeah, no, but that's just a vine thing because
No, it is the vine. Yeah, the whip is gone.
They swing across with the whip and the whip's just lying somewhere and he's just grabbing onto
But
roots.
like, yeah, that's the thing. That should not have been able to hold. I get like theoretically, not hold him as long as it took to get him to climb out. And also, that boulder got set back a couple feet when you look at it between shots. No, it like you look in that shot where he's trying to climb back out of that spike pit. And the boulder's like set back a couple feet or something. Like you see it coming towards him.
The boulder's not even in the picture at that point. Did you even watch the movie?
No, it's when he's running away. It's when he's running away.
But the boulder's not there yet. The boulder appears after the spike pit.
Oh, is
Because
it the door?
He gets
it
like,
is the door.
He gets like, it's the
It's
door.
the door closing.
Yeah,
Then
that's
yes.
what you're thinking of.
But like still, that's one of those like roots shouldn't have been able to hold him. There's something that happens with the boulder that's not feasible also.
Well, the fact that it's rolling along this like spider web infested corridor and
Right.
like nothing is decayed into the way of this boulder. This boulder hasn't been released already in the like thousands of years that it's been there.
Yeah.
I was talking directly at you just now. I was like, wow, I need to tell you about this boulder instead of talking to the microphone because this is a podcast. But the idea that the boulder... Hey,
We're back on
the
Avatar.
Boulder.
The boulder accepts your offer.
I don't even know where he was going. No, I do now. It's the door. The door. The door. You said that it was like closing and then there was some like time lapse and like.
Yeah.
I think that's DM. I think we're going to view these movies entirely through the lens of
Through Dungeons and Dragons.
not Dungeons and Dragons necessarily.
just like
Call of Cthulhu is probably closer because of
That's
all
fair.
the occult sort of ideas
Yeah,
and like
that's-
relic and library.
and the way
use.
to advance the action of the plot is by solving the intellect first.
Yeah, it is. You need to know things before running into them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're dead.
Yeah.
But the idea of the DM going, okay, this should have closed, but, it's not really plot convenient to have you trapped in this room. Plus, also, I have a boulder I want to throw at you, and that'd be like that's so much cooler than
so much
just
cooler for you to
leaving
die by a boulder.
slowly decay in a room because you got trapped by a door.
Oh,
a very lenient DM. A very lenient DM is who runs.
I want to know.
Indian
Speaking
films.
of the trap, I think this might be the last point on the trap making.
Yeah.
But I want to know who the hell painted that balance beam to blend in with the rocks that well in the third movie.
You would be amazed. That was actually Michelangelo.
Wow.
They flew him out. To paint
Special guest artist, Michelangelo.
You know him for painting the top of the Sistine Chapel.
Go paint a bunch of dudes with their dicks out.
Well, here he didn't draw dicks. He drew rock. He looked down, said, "Wow, look at that rock," and then he painted that rock.
That's
so
the
it would
second
look
question.
exactly the same.
That's the second question. Not only how did you paint it to blend that well, but also like to look down and see that perspective.
No.
Who came in and set those traps?
No, it was clearly a Renaissance artist, though. That's my thing. That leap of faith was a Renaissance artist, which means that night is bullshit. The old dude sitting in he's like, we went on a quest hundreds of years ago. Another like very pulpy sort of thing. It's like, okay, sure, this is like life eternal, but the other two of your party have died and you're still here, so I call a little bit of BS here. But
how do you know he wasn't the one that took away their eternal life?
Oh my goodness, monster! He is God. He was God.
Conspiracy.
The third brother
within the quest for the Grail.
Oh, that's weird. That's the whole. I just realized another sort of connection thing. The Holy Grail story of the three brothers is very similar to J.K. Rowling's The Three Brothers Who Evade Death.
I think I had that thought while watching it, but I feel like other people have talked about that before.
I don't have any clue. I just thought of it real quick.
Well, yeah, cool.
I wanted to spit it out there.
So there's parallel between the story of the brothers in the Crusades searching for the Grail, as well as the three brothers in the story of the Deathly Hallows.
Yeah, that's what I just said. You don't have to mansplain it.
Oh, sorry for mansplaining, bruh, but just like, can you scoot over a little bit? I need to manspread a little bit here.
Oh, you're not. Your legs are folded. You are literally like the.
Are you what? Are you about to assume my gender?
No.
You're saying my legs are folded, bruh.
I see you.
You want me to close my legs?
What does that mean? Okay.
I don't know where this bit is going anymore.
The next part, bugs. Bugs and creepy crawlies.
Ew.
We have that continuation of idea. The question that I have for you is, what do animals need to survive? You are the daughter of a veterinarian.
And a marine biologist.
So what do animals need to live?
Sunlight, if they're like creatures that inhabit the surface of the earth and aren't just waiting for you entombed in a cave sort of thing.
Okay, good. Sunlight. We've got sunlight.
I mean, it does depend, because sometimes I know, like...
No, I'm just blanket asking, what do animals need to survive?
Well, okay.
Sunlight is up there.
Sunlight / proper habitat. Nourishment of some sort.
What does that mean? That's a big word.
Yeah, nourishment is usually food or minerals or something that they can consume to maintain energy within the body.
That sounds like a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes water, usually water. Like, I can't think of a
What animals do you know that
Well, I don't know how
water?
many insects do or don't need water. I mean, like, I don't know if it's they need to drink water or if it's they consume it through whatever food or something they might be eating.
I feel like insects still need water.
No, that's what I'm pretty sure, but I don't know.
Because water is one of those basic ideas of metabolism and you need water for ATP production.
Yes.
So I'm going to say that most animals need that.
Yeah.
Unless animals don't have mitochondria.
The powerhouse of the cell.
We went there. We went in. Anyway.
Welcome to the meme cast. And so we have habitat, we've got some food, we've got some water.
We got some sunlight.
And if you want to keep your animals in that pit or snake trap or underground, wherever the heck you're keeping your animals, they need other animals that they can successfully reproduce with so you can keep that trap filled with snakes or bugs.
Can't have just a whole bunch of dude snakes hanging out.
You can't just have a bunch of dude
just
snakes.
Just dude snakes being dude pals and pal snakes.
Two snakes chilling in a pit. They're super close, but they're not gay.
All those snakes, not gay. You can tell because there's a lot of them just heaped onto each other. They're coily naked bodies just running over. Okay, this is weird.
Turning graphic.
We just opened somebody's fetish. If they're listening, they're like,
you're bringing the furries in.
No, not the furries. These, my dear, are
the scalies. Oh no. But yeah, those are usually the 4 things you need to keep your animals alive. Are your habitat, food, water, and mates, so that more of them can continue to exist.
And continuously alive.
Yeah.
Now, tell me, did any of the places they visited have access to those things?
Oh boy. Let's see.
Let's start with movie one.
Yeah, start with the first movie. The first thing I think of when I think of the animals is the snakes waiting for Indy when he jumps into.
There's also the tarantulas in the beginning, but they're
in the jungle.
They're like much more.
Yeah.
We just sort of live here. We weren't placed here.
Yeah. Assumedly, when there are spider webs in a location, my first thought is those spiders have found their way down into this place. And
do tarantulas make webs?
They do.
Like that?
Not on the ceiling, though. Tarantulas are land and ground dwelling spiders most of the time.
Land spiders.
Land spiders. They're
rather than sea spiders. Those are called crabs and lobsters. Woohoo! We're tarantulas.
Actually,
I'm sorry,
shoot.
I keep interrupting you.
No, there is some kind of sea creature that's related to like the arachnid kind of family.
It's a lobster.
It is lobsters?
Yeah, lobsters are arachnids, technically.
They live forever. That's what I know about lobsters.
They're immortal?
Fun fact, lobsters are technically immortal until you kill them, which sounds dumb and ridiculous, but it's true.
That's one of those ideas that makes you not immortal.
Well, yeah, it's basically the idea that their bodies do not sort of reach the cellular decomposition that most animals do. Like you die from old age because your cells and your organs can't function anymore.
Are they the ones that can keep growing? And the thing that kills them is that
it's literally just cutting.
Big?
No. It's just killing them. Ends that when you boil them, when you cut their head off.
I need real talk. I just said lobsters can grow forever. Don't look it up.
I need to know this.
Lobsters live forever. Lobsters grow forever, and them growing bigger doesn't kill them. Does that mean there are giant lobsters at the bottom of the ocean?
It's not about them growing bigger. Lobster, because I knew this too. Lobsters are technically still susceptible to disease because that is a destruction of the cells in the internal body.
Okay.
So
cancer-ridden lobsters.
Yeah, but it's the idea that they might not grow bigger, they might not.
I recognize that word from biology.
Telomerase.
I thought it was telomerase. It's the thing that stops replication. It's the thing.
No, it's the thing that starts to fall apart as your cells replicate. It's the ends of your DNA, at the ends of those double helix coils. That end splinters and fractions and comes apart the more your cells multiply.
So in humans, it's like a rug.
Basically, you're unraveling a rug every time those cells multiply in humans and most other animals.
In lobsters, it's like those steel. It's like an aglet.
It's basically an aglet.
Lobsters have aglets at the end of their DNA. You heard it here
and so
first.
When lobsters molt, it's not always that they're getting huge. I would really...
Oh, buff lobster, yeah.
I would actually...
In the gym, I'm going to be huge because my telomerase doesn't let me die when I get buff. Ooh.
See, this is making me...
That's why Larry the Lobster is a bodybuilder.
Yeah, Larry the Lobster is an immortal bodybuilder. But Think about it. Everybody else in that cast of SpongeBob is someday going to die from old age or from like being succumbed to like the natural cycle of life, except for Larry the Lobster, unless he gets diseased or hunted and fished. Larry will be the sole survivor of Bikini Bottom.
Oh, what does he sound like? I can't even imagine his voice, but I want to do some jokes.
Oh,
with,
no.
like, that voice.
It's sort of this like...
Hey, SpongeBob. Wait,
Hey,
is this...
SpongeBob!
Yeah.
Who is that? It's,
It's not... I don't know.
For some reason, I'm thinking Adam West, but deeper. And that's not true.
I started going into like a Macho Man Randy.
Yeah.
I'm Macho Man Randy Savage, but a lobster.
It's less, it's Randy Savage, but with less gravel.
But it's the, hey, SpongeBob.
Yeah. So what do you say? Are you ready to hit the beach?
Oh, I'm not just ready. I'm ready, Freddy.
It's Larry. The lifeguard episode.
You know what? I'm going to agree with you there because I don't know.
But yes, so in summary, lobsters can live forever unless they are diseased or killed. But like their cells do not decompose. Their cells do not fall apart. They maintain their structure. So lobsters can live forever.
All this to talk about tarantulas in
yes,
the tube. Okay.
Arachnids. But yes, tarantulas and like trapdoor spiders and all those kinds of like
Land spiders.
strange land spiders. Yes, they build webs. Like most of them have the capacity to weave webs. I don't know if trapdoor spiders necessarily do, or if they can, if it's just
It's
not like
webbed area. I've seen pictures, horrible pictures. I don't like looking at spiders in
wolf
their
spiders.
homes. Let's not talk about spiders anymore.
Spiders.
You know, I don't
a
really
giant
know.
legion of spiders.
I don't really know why we're going for this whole bug route thing because I'm not really a fan of them.
I love bugs. I used to have a bug phase as a kid, and I loved like picking them up and examining them, and like
I'm
I
glad
had
you're here for this
books
because right
and
now
everything.
I'm like, let's move through this segment.
No, the only things I didn't like about bugs were bees at the time, and I've come to learn to love bees because bees aren't that bad. I know the bees are dying. The bees aren't that bad. I still hate wasps.
Well, who doesn't?
And I like spiders, but I'm not a fan of the ones that want to bite me. Like, black widows still kind of creep me out. Brown recluse still kind of creep me the hell out. But I'm a fan of most bugs, except for centipedes that sneak into my house and crawl on my pillow right before I'm about to go to bed. That wasn't a fun time. Or the scorpions that would try to sneak their way into my kitchen and my garage.
You know, the more you talk, the more it sounds like you really don't like bugs.
No, it's just the ones that like it's like this, bruh, this is my house. I'm gonna need you to respect my space a little bit. I'm gonna pick you up in this cup, gonna put you back outside.
And I'm gonna yeet you off at the balcony window.
Did we do that? That's what you did with the centipede.
Yeah,
though.
we yeeted him. He was yoked.
You mean yoinked? No, yoinked is to pull.
I would have pulled him toward. I don't want to pull the centipede towards me. I yote him. I yote him out the window. He was yeeted. I yote him.
The Lord yeeteth and the Lord yoinketh away.
Okay, so.
But to talk about all these bugs and things is to say that for me, some of the most like viscerally grotesque and physical responsive movies from Indiana Jones are 2 and 4.
Oh yes.
Namely because 2 is so animal heavy. Like 2 has all of the like the animals in the wilderness. It has all the things about the like
vampire bats.
The vampire bats
and the bugs that they have to walk through so they can grab
the pit of bugs waiting in the underground passage.
You can rip people's hearts out. That's visceral.
That's very visceral. And also like the delicacies, the what is considered a delicacy at the banquet, the chilled monkey brains.
Which you've like if you see that as a kid, you never recover from. You're like,
no.
Oh, I don't ever want to eat anywhere besides McDonald's.
Basically.
And then you watch a documentary on McDonald's and you're like, not even.
I just don't want to eat
food. Not even McDonald's is safe.
And that's one of the things that I really like. I thought it was terrifying as a kid, but thinking about just sort of the structure and the consistencies of the Indiana Jones movies, people have problems with the ant scene in the 4th one. I think it's one of the most successfully, like, this is an Indiana Jones moment, if there ever was one, of them stumbling upon this place after a fight, taking a moment to, like, catch their breath.
Both parties,
both
too.
parties.
Like, oh, that was horrible. Don't want to do that again.
And then suddenly, ants.
And those ants, oh my goodness.
They big.
Like, people like complained about that. They were like, this is unreasonable. It's like, yeah, but you've never been to the Amazon, have you? Maybe you have. And
Maybe you
in
have.
that case,
Are the if you're from the Amazon or live nearby there, are the ants that big? Please tell us. We need to know for science.
I recall there being discussions somewhere about like soldier ants that were like huge.
Leafcutter ants like get pretty big for just your small variety of ants, but yeah, I think there have been some things about like soldier ants in those very tepid, rainforesty, humid climates that they get huge.
But the idea of like and maybe they're more horrific than some of the other creatures because the other creatures just sort of exist in their space, which is invaded by humans.
Yep.
Like you've got the snakes and the bugs and the rats that are all like, "What you doing here? This my space, bruh." But the ants are like, "You got here, now you must die.
You dare trespass on our land! Attack!
And that's visceral in the sense that like we watch ants like crawl inside somebody's mouth and just like.
Well, the other visceral thing is
from
the
the inside
squish. It's the like, as much as I'm not a huge fan of the like modern action camera viewing of the fourth movie, where like the bug guts get squished on the camera and things like that.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of that, but like it's very visceral in that it's this, oh god. Bugs, like everyone knows what it is like to squish a bug or to see a bug squish, and just it's gross.
Yeah.
It's gross. It smells gross. It looks gross. It's disgusting.
There's some guts.
Yeah. And so it triggers that response, and it's also that like what is it called to feel bugs crawling up your skin, to feel something crawling up your skin that's not really there.
Titillation.
I don't think it's that.
I mean, that is a word that.
It is a word.
I mean, you might be considering goosebumps and frisson, but that's typically related to other things.
No.
The
There's
tingly,
something else.
creepy, crawly sensation. Maybe if I like.
No, it's literally like feeling like a ghost bug crawling up your arm. It is called something, and
Well,
I can't think of it.
We
other
don't
than
need ghost bugs. Let's talk about snakes. Pit of snakes.
I hate snakes.
What is my favorite question to ask on Dread character creation sheets?
What are you most afraid of?
And what do I always try to do in a Dread?
Include that fear.
Yeah, it is the tried and true. Oh, you're afraid of this? Well, guess what? That just became a trap monster
Oh
right
no,
there.
I'm afraid of fame and fortune and stumbling upon $1 million.
Well, guess what? You're going to end up trapped in a greedy lair, and that's going to be the death of you.
Damn it.
Haha, got him.
Which is also another fun point of some of the villains of Indiana Jones.
Number 3. Oh, that is number 3. Hey, we did it. We're at number 3.
Well, no, let's keep talking about snakes first before we get to number 3.
Snakes and crocodiles and rats. Those
the
are the ones we need to
crocodiles.
talk about.
I forgot the crocodiles at the end of the second one. How did I forget those?
We do a flip. Do a barrel roll.
Do a barrel roll.
Aileron? It's an aileron roll because I don't actually know if crocodiles consider it an aileron roll. I've never asked a crocodile if they consider what they do an aileron roll. But I like the idea that they're like constantly just like aileron roll, aileron roll. Maybe they consider it a barrel roll.
I like to imagine crocodiles whenever they do their death rolls. I imagine them giving their best pirouette. Watch me. I could do single, double, triple pirouette. Voom, 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 voom.
As they rip apart this person.
As they rip apart the casting director.
As they drown.
They come in for an audition.
Show us what you got. Well, come here. Do I need to come down there? Yeah, it really helps if you're here. And of course, there's no water, so it's just the casting director being like repeatedly hit into the floor.
Exactly.
Just thwack, thwack.
The director is like very concerned. Like the choreographer of the show is like, oh my god, that pirouette was beautiful. You could do a triple.
We don't even need cast. We have the perfect spot for you underneath a bridge at the end of the climactic scene. of the second movie.
Crocodiles make great ballerinas. Just saying. Anyway, but yeah,
Those
that's
are crocodiles.
another very visceral moment. Is death by crocodile.
Yeah, the other villains all get sort of like
Phased out of existence.
yeah, they sort of get evaporated. Where this guy just gets singed a little bit, and then he gets ripped apart by crocodiles.
Yeah.
Like, I don't that. There's something about that that's just like. I don't know. The other ones are visceral in the sense that, like, wow, we just watched this guy's face melt, or this guy just decayed into a husk of a person.
Exactly, like they no
eyes.
longer exist in this world anymore.
Yeah, and this one was just he got eaten.
Yeah, but that kind of stuff happens.
But that,
or like
like
you live in Florida long enough, like depending on where you are.
That's what happens. You live in Florida long enough, you get ripped apart by a crocodile.
You either live long enough to see like news reports of someone getting ripped apart by an alligator, or you become that person if you're just being an idiot and either stumble your way or drunkenly make your way to a large body of water that is not salt, and even then,
or
some of the alligators have started venturing into salt and brackish water.
Or you decide to go to the Florida Ballet. That's also a terrible way to get destroyed by a crocodile. But you don't think it, but then you're like, that's a very scaly ballerina, and the next thing you know, whap into the ballet floor,
into the dance. But yeah, so like, but that's the thing, exactly. Like, that kind of stuff happens in real life. And that's when you go, oh, God. Because Indiana Jones just sort of treats its antagonist in this, like, we've been in reality. We've been existing in a reality very much like our own this whole movie. And now suddenly we are at this point where we are no longer in that reality. And so the consequences to this human character they hold, but not in the same way of, like, a death by alligators or a death by gunshot or something like that.
But and this is going to transfer us into point 3, which is the like search for knowledge and quest for gold.
Oh no, that's 4. Or quest for gold is.
Oh, that is 4. Well, I'm going straight to point 4 then.
No.
We can skip some chauvinism right now because I want to talk about this because you brought it up.
I did.
The idea that Indiana Jones and all of his villain counterparts,
all his villain buddies,
except maybe barring Temple of Doom, that one's a little bit more questionable, but all of the villains are on the same level as Indiana Jones. It is, I want to find this thing, we can help each other find this thing, we do help each other find this thing, and then at the last moment it is Indiana Jones going, no, this is the right. There is a right path and a wrong path, and Indiana Jones takes the right path, while the villain always goes down the wrong path. We see it with Belloc, right, in the first one, where it is, this is a cataclysmic power source, don't open it, opens it anyway. The third one, do not go after the Grail, it is like, you will be corrupted, and like, we watch, blonde Elsa, right. That's her name, because like, she's German, and every German woman is named Elsa. Sorry, Mom.
Sorry, Mom.
Your name's Elsa, apparently, according to my podcast now. But the idea that, like...
And then the fourth one, obviously.
Hey, these are spooky alien things. I'm getting out of here. Bye. But the villainous Russian lady that looks surprisingly like Kate Blanchett.
What accent is that?
I don't know what
that looks surprisingly like Kate Blanchett.
I did not sing in my Russian accent.
There you go. You were in French for a moment.
Yeah, I was
now
in
you
French.
I was
in Belloc land.
Belloc land.
And now I'm Kate Blanchett playing a stylish Russian lady that I totally stole the fashion sense of.
Colonel Surgeon?
Colonel Doctor. Colonel Doctor Sputnik.
No.
Illyria
Is it Illyria?
Sputnik. We
I just want to make sure I know the name.
Yeah. I think we could just call her Colonel Doctor because that's impressive enough. Here's this white woman who's just like, bam, I'm a Colonel Doctor.
Irina, yep.
Irina Spalko. I was close. But yeah, and all these people, the villains always meet their death because they are like too greedy. They want to know. I want to know.
I want to know. Can you show me?
And the aliens
for you,
say,
Phil Collins.
Yes, I can show you. Are you sure you want to know?
Are you sure about that?
John Cena pokes through, goes, really? Because if we
The alien leans in, and then suddenly, in John Cena's voice, goes, "Are you sure about that?"
But it's all of those villains too. Is John Cena
No, it's all
like
of
peering
them.
through? Are you sure
Pops
about
out
that?
of the Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah, right before it, like all the spirits come out, they
Are
like
you
open
sure
it, and
about
John
that?
Cena. Are you sure about that? And then, that was strange otherworldly presence of Christian mythos. Was that's what that is. And then Temple of Doom.
The Temple of Doom is Elsa about to take the Grail across the
That's not-
seal.
that's Last Crusade. Temple
Or
of
not
Doom.
Temple of Doom, sorry.
Is give me the rocks because they're powerful. And
Yeah.
Indiana Jones is like, are they powerful? And the rocks go, are you sure about that?
John Cena jumps out of the bag.
And then the Indian gods go, and he goes, ah, you burned my
Alligators.
hand, and he falls into the river.
But then Elsa running out of Last Crusade with the Holy Grail.
We have the Holy Grail. We can leave. Oh.
And then in the center seal, John Cena appears clawing through the rocks going, Are you sure about that? And opens the chasm.
I can reach it, John Cena, from the
Bottom of
chasm.
the chasm.
Are you sure about that? Ah! Into the pit.
This
into
is the
fog
cameo
pit.
I wish we had had.
And then Alien again.
And then Alien turns into John Cena.
Are you sure about that? Vaporized. That-
Which is all to say. And then a spin-off question with that we were talking about this earlier was this idea of your two female baddies. Your two sort of female
Elsa
antagonists.
and
Irina.
Colonel Doctor.
Colonel Doctor.
Though we could say Dr. Elsa vibe.
Yes, she was also.
She was also Doctor.
Like, that's the thing. All of these villains are all very smart people, resourceful people, clever people, and especially the women. Because for Elsa especially, she's working with a man who just wants this one thing, and she goes, okay, but I see where you're going to fail, and I'm going to try to figure out how to counter that so I can get what I want and let you do the grunt work for me as much as possible, and I'm still going to try to use this the way that I think it deserves to be used. Like, Elsa is, you want to use this for yourself. I see how this can be of help. Granted, she's working for Nazi Germany, but
who isn't?
But who isn't in Indiana Jones?
You were a Nazi? Yeah. What movie do you think we're in right now? Like, what?
Until you get to the fourth one when it's, of course everyone's working for the KGB. Who do you think you are?
It used to be, there's like a picture of like Indiana Jones like shaking his fist. It used to be Nazis. And now it's these Russian people.
And then with Irina's case, she's the one in charge. Yes, she's the one running the operation, but it's also this, you hear about her being like one of Stalin's top scientific researchers.
Yeah.
So it's still this, like, there is a man as an attachment, even though we don't ever see that higher power above her. So, but it's still that knowing that someone wants her to do this thing, but she has been granted permission to do the thing, but absolutely is going to do it her way, and the way that she wants to use that knowledge for the government that she works for and the people that she works for, but also as this, like, I want this too. I need to know these things. I want to know. And for both of the women, their downfalls come from this strange, I guess, feminist question of, do they fail not just because they're the antagonist and you have to see your protagonist take the righteous or right path versus your antagonist, but sort of this question of the women trying, in some cases, a lot harder than the men to absolutely do their best to succeed, that it's that continuous trial and that continuous perseverance that ultimately gets them killed because they say, I can't give up.
Yeah.
I have to keep going.
Do they fail not because they're women, but
Right.
because of the woman condition
Yeah.
of constantly being less than a man
and
in
having
that
to
society?
persist and having to pursue and be 10 steps ahead of the man and try.
In order to get 78 cents to the dollar.
Right.
Okay.
It's that, like, is the like, where does that I'm working harder and I'm trying more and I'm learning more and I need to know more and I need to know what to do to get this thing that I desire, to maybe let that help me come out on top, and they never get it.
Yeah.
And, like, I remember it kind of made me like, yay, the villain's dead when I saw the fourth one. But watching it again, it makes me sad that she's so desperate to know. It's this very, like, I need to know. I want to know everything. And it's that you obviously can't handle that kind of knowledge.
Yeah, the idea of I want to know everything and anything that has
Right.
even like a remote semblance to that amount of knowledge going, are you kidding?
Right.
Like could you imagine if an ant crawled up to you one day and was like, teach me algebra? Like,
What is my purpose? You pass butter. Oh my God.
but the idea, like, maybe, like, algebra isn't a lot to us, but, like,
Right,
that
to an
is
ant.
everything to an ant. I don't know
Yeah.
how much ants know about algebra. This
I
is
don't think it's
an
much.
example. But the idea that, like, what if an ant asks you how to do algebra? Sure, I can try to teach you, but will you even begin to comprehend algebra?
And then you crawl into my mouth and get your friends to drag me back into your anthill.
the
Checkmate, the ants win.
The true death of the elder gods is us dragging them back into a pit and eating them.
Which, speaking of, like, the many rising above the few, let's talk about the Area 51 connection, because we were talking about this earlier, and I'm really excited to bring this up. This is the one hot topic, maybe, that the USS Bandwagon will talk about, and it's the raid on Area 51 that's set to happen in September, and this very interesting idea that we were talking about. Part of the reason everyone says they hate the fourth movie is the aliens. And
here we are.
Talking about the aliens.
Looking for aliens at Area 51. I've hit this so many times. I need to stop.
hitting the pop filter. But no, that all to bring up the idea that we sort of went down two roads, and we can talk about both or talk about one. But the one road is the idea that, are these aliens, like, are they just aliens sort of thing, which is kind of a strange cop-out for the universal canon of Indiana Jones, or are they deities that belong to a particular region that we see the Western god and, like, the Judeo-Christian god hold a root in the Middle East? And then we see the Indian
sort of sub-religion, because we were sort of like, I don't really know these
We don't
gods
know a whole
necessarily, but like it's a very regional specific
Yeah.
Indian religion sort of idea.
And because there are many, do they attach themselves? Like, the sort of the big question of Indiana Jones is, because we always find something larger than the human self and the human condition at the end, are these all deities in the same canon that have attached themselves to a particular region or a particular people, including the aliens, which could be, like, we
the
see
South American
right, like
ideas
the
of deity,
that
deitism.
even if they are an extraterrestrial being, like literally just a being that is not of Earth, are they still any less of a deity than a Judeo-Christian god or an Indian god or anything like that? Are they still just a god of sorts in an extraterrestrial form, in a physical form, versus the sort of spiritual ones that the others come in? Or the question we were talking about earlier, this sort of lingering pseudo-Western culture-born racist idea that we came over to the Americas and found these civilizations in South America and went, there's no way you could have built that. It must have been aliens.
Yeah, there's one of the real issues that we sort of were like, whoa, wait a second.
Wait
that
a minute.
idea that
Who are you?
the idea that Europeans discovering the Americas. No, I mean, we can't say it of all of the Native American
No.
tribes necessarily,
No.
but certainly there's evidence in quite a few of the South American
Yeah.
tribes for sure.
The ones that were planted and established and built like foundational
These cities were cities miles above these like sort of mud hovel cities of Europe.
Western Europe kind of had a thing going with Greece and Rome, and then that steam ran out very quickly as they fell into the Dark Ages, and then they started to get the ball rolling again, but sort of lost that whole like forward momentum they once had.
And so reaching the idea of like reaching these like cities, these shining cities with technology and stuff that the Europeans would like hardly have dreamed
Right.
of, going, well, you guys couldn't have done this.
Because we can't.
Like, we can't, so it's clear that you guys have some sort of extra help. There's something, and it can't be religious, because our religion is right.
Aliens.
So the idea that aliens come from this weird European, Eurocentric notion of like, we were the best, we were always the best.
Right.
So for them to have been better means that there was some other force helping them.
Right.
Because otherwise, it'd be cheating. Like, otherwise, we'd be wrong.
How dare we be wrong about something as Western Europe? Just disgusting.
Disgusting.
So that was an interesting question, and that's maybe not the prescribed idea, but a possibility. Why people jump on this bandwagon?
Yeah, that's us.
Da
We're
da
the-
da 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 da. Of this distaste for the fourth movie because it becomes this thing about aliens.
Rather than religious.
Right.
Pulpy.
Because all three movies prior were this religious view. And yes, the sort of first glance is, no, it's not religion. It's literally aliens. We see one at the end of the movie. But then it's the question of, well, does it have to be one or the other? Could it not be both? Could it be an extraterrestrial creature that comes from somewhere far off, but is a deity in a physical form? Is something that is all powerful? And this was something that we mentioned this earlier, that the fourth movie is bookended with these very nice images of destructive power. We start the first one with, and it also sets
we
a nice.
should say we mentioned this earlier in a conversation
Yes.
that you were not a part of, you listener nerd.
Ha, nerds. We're nerds too, though, so it's okay.
The destructive power of, we begin with the atomic bomb,
Which sets the tone of this, like, it's 20 years after the third movie.
Yes.
So we have moved from Nazis and World War II into a new age of international tension in the Cold War and in
absolute
the
destruction,
Red Scare, the absolute
of
destruction.
mutually assured destruction, of collective fear and terror,
Yeah.
of
Distrust.
serious distrust.
Paranoia, distrust.
The commie is lurking in your closet.
Right.
Is that a thing? That feels like a
Commie is lurking in your closet.
commies in your closet. Instead of
Help
skeletons in
them-
the closet, I have commies in my closet.
Just know that you should be there to help encourage them, that it's okay to come out of the closet. That's really bad.
terrible.
But it's this new time period. It's a new world. And I think that's another thing that people are sort of like, this isn't Indiana Jones. It's Indiana Jones prior has been very straightforward. And it's this like, yeah, Hitler, not a good guy. He wants to kill all these people for this reason. And, the rest of us are sort of in a moral agreement of, no, that's not okay. Whereas we come into the Cold War and it's suddenly, we just used an atomic bomb to wipe out Hiroshima. Is this still a good thing to be keeping around? Why are we building testing sites in our own soil, in our own land, to continuously test the power of these things? Why are we stockpiling them? Why do we not trust anyone anymore? Why, like, all of these, like, in
And the building of, like, this is Area 51. This is
Yeah.
where all of the U.S. secrets that should not be in civilian hands are kept. And it's infiltrated.
We need to raid it.
And is infiltrated by the KGB.
Yeah.
But in that idea of, like, the America doesn't trust its own citizens.
Yeah.
And yet the KGB is there. Like, the KGB is at the place where these secrets that aren't even, like, American citizen worthy has been already taken over by the military of the other nation,
Right.
the other power.
Which is all to say, so, like, it's a new world, new set of rules, which is, I think, part of why the tone shifts in the fourth one compared to the other three. I'm very curious to know about Colonel Jones in World War II. Like,
We've been cheated in
we've
some
been
way.
cheated. But so we start with this beautiful mushroom cloud image. Severe radiation exposure, but beautiful.
He gets a shower
He
bath
gets a
thing.
shower and a scrub.
That's all you need.
But
Have you stood within it sounds like a terrible 50s
if you or
thing.
a loved one has been diagnosed with
No,
mesothelioma,
it's... If you find yourself in the proximity of a nuclear bomb test, just make sure to hit the showers. You don't want any of that dust and grime or radioactive material wiping off on your clothes. This has been a message from the U.S. Department of Security.
is this Portal 2
I mean, something like that.
or Fallout? One of the two. But
Please proceed to the nearest place to take a shower, because that's all you need. A shower and a fridge. Your friends for the nuclear apocalypse.
oh, jeez. But yeah, so you get this beautiful mushroom cloud imagery to start the movie, really set the tone of here's where we are in the real world, and you see the devastation of the town as not even the full bomb has approached yet, but just the sheer energy making its
Yeah,
way.
the heat that just whips
The
apart
heat
it.
death. We get a lot of quotes about knowledge and seeking knowledge. And now I am become death, destroyer of worlds. And you get this. The thing I will give the fourth movie, I think, above the other ones, like as beautiful as they were and as well filmed as they were for the time, the fourth one has some really good cinematography. It's really, really good about its image play. And that whole conversation about I'm become death, destroyer of worlds. You get both your antagonist and your protagonist in profile, but they exist in two different planes. And it's them talking about the same idea from two different sides. And it's, film nerd looks beautiful. Like, problems with the rest of the movie, sure, the monkey scene was a little unnecessary. But, the things it does right, it does really right. So you've got all this conversation going about knowledge and what is worth questing for and what is too much. And you start the movie with a big force of massive destruction from knowledge, and you end the movie with a big mass of force of destruction from knowledge, basically.
Mm-hmm.
It's the alien craft taking off and destroying all evidence of that lost city and covering it all up as the water breaks in and the rocks crumble.
And everybody's sort of like, well, that happened.
And if you notice in the bottom left corner, Indy is the only person that you see watching the destruction again.
Yeah.
Like, it's bookended very
yeah,
nicely.
yeah.
Like, kudos to the cinematography and, like, scenic setup directors. That was very, very well done, and I did not appreciate that as a kid. So, thank you for that. So it's this question of, it's all to say, like, the movies themselves, are they about this quest? Like, what is the archaeology that we're digging up? Are we searching for this treasure that we strive to possess but realize that evil is always going to use instead, so we just shouldn't quest it? Or is it coming to terms with, at the end of the road, not only is there the thing you seek, but the thing more important than that object is the knowledge behind it, and the knowledge that there is or isn't a god of some sort giving that thing its power, or that there is or isn't more to the universe and more to just being human. Like, there's this really profound philosophical message at the end of every Indiana Jones, which is something you wouldn't expect just thinking of Indiana Jones.
Wait, the first one is, what is power, and what does it take to possess that?
Yeah, who gets to use it?
The second one is, where does life come from? Does something...
Who can take it away?
Who can take it away?
Kalima!
Kalima can.
Kalima can.
Basically, it's there. The third one is what is the worth of a life, and is a life more worthwhile than...
Or a life eternal.
Yeah, like, is that a worthwhile existence? Because arguably we could say that whoever that villainous guy is...
What's his name?
Henry. No, not Henry.
Not Henry.
Eichborn? No, that's not...
I don't remember.
Old man that's American and betrays America for the Nazis because eternal life. He does experience an eternal life, and then he dies.
Yeah.
It's a life in a second, but, like, he goes through all the stages. He does it. It's a pretty impressive
You
one.
did it.
I don't know if that's necessarily what he was looking for, but, he did it. And then the fourth one is knowledge value? Like,
Right.
is there a knowledge that is too
great to possess?
Is there knowledge that we should rather not have because... And the answer is, yeah, there is, because she gets vaporized for
Yeah.
it. Like, she gets...
Like, it's not the idea that you should... And they in the fourth one, they string along these constant ideas of... Should you, like Mutt, when he says, I'm dropping out of school, it's that idea of the practical knowledge versus the academic and the get out of the library and into the field. Like, it's always the question of, I think the idea that, like, all those questions ask suggests that, I bumped the pop filter. No.
It's just right there. It's, like, really easy to just whap.
The thing that all of these ideas suggest is... sort of prodding and poking at this concept of learning the things you love, learning the things you can, always desiring to learn more, but never letting it consume you. Mm-hmm. Like, wanting to learn the truth whenever possible, yes, because Charlie, is that his name? The new dean of the school has a line about, like, the paranoia of the Red Scare seeping into academia, then what's the point?
Oh, yeah. If it gets here, then
Yeah.
what is safe?
So it's that, like, always desire to learn and always desire to know what you love, and always desire the truth. Like, certainly don't pull the wool over your own eyes, but also not to let it consume you.
Yeah.
And this arc of understanding that there are things beyond human comprehension, and that's okay. Like,
What if those things just get locked in a secret base forever?
It'd be cool to know if they exist, though.
It
Just to
would
know
be.
that just to know that they're actually there would be kind of cool.
I mean, it's a little disappointing that the government doesn't tell us more about what's at Area 51, but
Right. Can we just
Yes.
get, like, a little bit of transparency? I feel like this relationship really isn't working, and I feel like we're just not being honest with one another.
What about the current U.S. government system isn't working? Just say it right there into that camera. No questions asked.
Questions asked, just some thoughts. Just like a quick tweet.
Please help, we're being held at gunpoint. The consumption of knowledge
Yeah.
and the burning desire to know being
I bumped the laptop.
everything. It's destroyed now.
It's all over.
Whole podcast gone. Okay, we have 5 minutes. Chauvinism.
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 I think I'm saying that word right. Chauvinism.
It's
Chauvinism.
either way. But yes, chauvinism.
Indiana Jones gets ladies by insulting them, calling them rude names, having them say basically the same thing back, and then making out in a very forceful way.
And then sleeping with them.
I mean, he doesn't actually ever get around to sleeping with Blondie
No.
with the red dress.
Yeah.
Red lady.
Lady in red
Anything goes.
is scared of bugs.
And basically everything in that movie. And I agree that people didn't like that character, but gosh, isn't she just a breath of fresh air in some ways? Because, like, she's somebody that comes in and is like, I want to go home.
Right. I did appreciate that about her. Like, she's the only one going,
This
I
is
know
horrible.
I'm not supposed to be here. I don't want to be here. I want to go home.
I am in the wrong story.
It really is.
And then at the end when it's like, I want to go back to Missouri. It's like the like discovery that she's not New York or London or any like high fancy place. It's just like, I'm from Missouri.
I'm going back to Missouri. Which you should know, that takes a lot of gusto to be able to say that.
Yeah, if you want to go back to Missouri, well, I got the question for you. Why? What on earth have you seen? Why?
No, that's how you know you have seen something to change your life.
I ain't going back to Missouri.
But yeah, it's like we actually mentioned this, talking about the company that I work at is about to do a new play, or not a new play, but first play of the new season, and we're talking about the female lead in the show, and it's this like she's described as beautiful and sexy, and she's she's a little bit of a potty mouth. But it reminds me so much of this same Marion energy. It's this like, I know I'm a woman, and I own the fact that I am a woman, and I'm not going to let a man control me, and I'm not going to let a man like do whatever he wants to me.
His manly things to me.
Right, but there's also a part of me that does like him. I acknowledge the fact that this guy might be a little bit of an asshole. He's not exactly like he's charming, but he is not like always a charmer. Sometimes he is, but it's that I acknowledge the things that I stand for, but it's this also, I do like this guy, and you know what? Because I like him, I'll play along. I'll play into this.
Harrison Ford is sexy enough that he sort of pulls it off.
If it was anyone else, God help him.
I think that's one of the
Harrison
problems
Ford.
I have with Sean Connery is that sort of person is that like maybe I didn't grow up with Sean Connery as the like super stud sort of thing, but like Sean Connery as that character is always a little bit like, ooh, I don't like that. I don't like it as much. But Harrison Ford, I'm like, I can get behind that.
I'd let Harrison Ford have his way with me.
Okay.
Take that as you will.
Who wouldn't?
I mean, but yeah, so you get that from Mary, and you get that, and like, it's, granted, the facial expressions come a little bit strong in the fourth movie. Like, you still see that she's fighting that, am I in love with this asshole, or am I not? I am, but I'm not gonna, like, let him comfort himself with that thought. I want to try to keep him in suspense, but it's that weird crack-happy smile.
But she is not... Let me be clear, she is not the, like, lobotomized patient that some people claim her to be. It's like,
some of the faces are a little bit much, but, like, overall, she is not... I think she's much more excited to be, like, out in the adventure rather being kidnapped.
Yeah, because first movie, she's just kidnapped every single turn. You're sort of like, okay, great.
Basket time. Oh, no.
Oh, you're captured again. Oh, you're the damsel in distress again.
Yeah.
Whereas here, it's like, here she is, like, being the adventurous.
She's driving the boat car.
Like, she's captured at the beginning, but that's more like...
To get her there.
That's less like plot convenience as much as like this is a bargaining chip that makes sense rather than like, well, we've just taken her so that you have an excuse to come here.
Right.
Like he was already on the way. The fact
and he
that
didn't
she's
know that
still
it was
there.
her.
Yeah.
He went, Mary Williams. I don't know which one you're talking about. I've met a couple Marys.
What did you just say about Mary? That's my mom.
Shia LaBeouf, calm your titties.
Do you see those old men by the bar? I don't think they're here for the milkshakes.
Not the milkshakes, but they bring all the boys to the yard.
Okay.
But yes, and then I feel so bad. I can't actually remember her name, and that we just keep calling her the Lady in Red.
Lady in Red.
Yeah, like, I think it's a little bit... Like, they didn't want to create another Marion because they didn't know how they were going to bring her back. And it's this sort of that, like... It's a different woman because it's
well, it's also
a year
future. It's like 1935
earlier.
or 1934 or something that Temple of Doom takes place
No.
in.
Temple of Doom is backwards in time.
Yeah, that's why I said it's a year before.
You meant this first one was the... Never mind. So it's that... Well, we know that she exists, though, because he's encountered her before, and they, like...
Marion?
Yeah.
Or the Lady in Red?
No, like, he knows Marion exists, because they've, like, work together.
Oh, yeah.
Train together and all that
Oh,
stuff.
right, because he comes in and she's like, wow,
Right.
you're in my house again, my bar, while
Yeah.
I'm drunk because I just drank all this whiskey.
Look at all these shots I drank, you bitch.
Please don't burn my bar down. Oh, no. It happened anyway.
Happened anyway. She kicked ass while that drunk. That's the amazing part
she's
about
like
Marion.
30 shots in. Bam. Evicts the intruders. No problem.
But, like, it's that, like, double-edged sword of, I really like this character, Lady in Red. I really like her because she's that breath of fresh air of, I don't belong in this story! Get me out! And which is why she's, like, whiny and complainy, and to bring it to modern story that's happening right now at this moment in time, I saw Toy Story 4, and Forky constantly, like, you haven't
went
seen this.
without me.
I didn't know you wanted to see it. But Forky always refers to himself as trash in the beginning and is just this like, why am I a toy? I know, he's my spirit animal. He's like, why am I a toy? Why am I alive? I'm not supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be in a trash can. And it's everyone else in the world of that narrative going like, what the hell's this guy's problem? Like, that's her in Indiana Jones. Like, it sucks that it has to be like the pretty blonde woman in high heels in the jungle complaining about everything. But it's that, like, yeah, it's her character. And, like, she can get sassy and she can do the things when she needs to do them. And she can start taking a stance for herself when she's either desperate or confident enough to, like, fix things.
That's the thing that's good about her in some
Yeah.
ways is that, like, she knows she doesn't want to be there.
That's the
She's like,
thing.
I don't want to be
She
here.
does know that,
But
yes.
when it comes down to it, like, she has moments of, like, I broke a nail. Damn it. Like,
Yeah.
there's, like, those,
The
like,
little things.
prissy sort of things. That's a weird word, prissy.
Prissy.
But those, like, I'm too good for this. But, like, there are moments that she also just, like, thwack.
Yeah.
I mean, like, the first time she's put in any real danger is when she, like, drops the gun and she's like, it burnt me.
Which,
but then,
yeah,
like, by
if
the
you're
end,
not
she's like,
punching
"Oh,
and
jeez."
slugging,
I don't
yeah.
think she's ever punches somebody, but
Is it usually just hitting someone with something else?
I think she
can't
hit
remember.
somebody with, like, a bar or something.
But also,
or
it's that very real reaction of, yeah, if you're gonna hold a gun that's just been fired, of course it's gonna, like, burn your hands a little bit. It's hot metal.
There was just an explosion in there.
Right. So yeah, that is definitely a character that, like, has different strengths, but I think it's because you just had Marion in the first movie, it's really hard to compete with that. And they know that she's not supposed to be the same kind of character, but it's also that, like, we just got left a really strong impression, and it's hard to follow that up.
But then you have Elsa, the first, like,
Yes.
female villain sort of thing.
Yes,
where, like,
she is.
we turn that sort of idea of, like,
She's
ooh,
the love interest again.
it's
Oh,
like,
shit.
double crossed, stabbed in the back.
But I
Idiot.
still want to kiss you.
But yeah, we could.
Why won't you kiss me? Because you're a Nazi.
Well, I'm not really a Nazi. It's more like, but the terrifying moment of, like, all I have to do is squeeze, all I have to do is scream, which
Yeah.
is a really, like, like, yeah, she's a Nazi, but also, like, she's a Nazi with good interests. That was in air quotes, just
Yeah.
so we're clear. But that, like, moment, that questionable
just-
moment of, like, here's our protagonist with his throat around a young woman's neck.
With his throat around a young woman's neck.
Yeah, with his throat.
Making out at a book burning.
No, it's like a. Oh, isn't this, like, candlelight with the books burning in the background really romantic?
Oh, jeez.
as they're necking each other.
They're just necking
As
each
we
other.
take that nice 1940s slingo.
Slingo. Slang.
We can sling the lingo. Wow.
But so to try to make that sentence more coherent, yes, with his hand around her throat.
Yes, as I was trying to say, but could not coherently. But hand around her throat going, I could break your throat. And she goes, yeah, but I could call for help. It's a very, like, I don't like, that's not a great protagonist moment. That's a very icky, ooh.
Yeah. Which also, I really like that moment because we get a very interesting, either intentional or unintentional nod to it in The Incredibles. For anyone that remembers that moment with Mirage when Mr. Incredible is trying to find out what happened to his family from her, and Syndrome walks in and like he's grabbed her and it is going, I could break her like a toothpick, and Syndrome just sort of goes, go ahead.
Like, can't drink.
Gotcha. It was this very nice, like, I've seen this before.
The masculine protagonist that becomes a little bit too masculine and becomes a little bit too aggressive, and you sort of go, oh, wait a second. Like, yeah, I get that. Like, yeah, she's evil, but like she's the nicer evil, we say in our really privileged sort of way that denotes some sort of level of
scales of evil.
Yeah. She's not the people goose-stepping around throwing books into the fire.
Right.
She's crying about that. That
She's
makes
not
her,
Hitler.
She's crying about the books being burned, so that makes her a good person, trademark.
Again, knowledge.
Yeah, no, and that is a scary moment we're back to our favorite topic of trauma, the Library of Alexandria. I couldn't think of anything where a library's burned, and there it is. Third movie, bam, books on fire.
That's right.
Books just thrown into a bonfire.
Yep, and Hitler autographing.
Hitler autographing, one of the best jokes in cinema, honestly. It's just like, well, let me just sign that for you. I'm Hitler. Do.
Top 10 jokes in Indiana Jones. Hitler signing a book at the burning. The nod to the Ark of the Covenant in the third movie when he goes, yep, seen that.
Yeah, we don't need to worry about that.
And the fourth movie, big ants run.
Oh, these don't look too bad. Also, how does that one? There's the one ant that gets like to the top, like it gets onto her arm before any other ants have come out. He's just like, I'm having a party.
Oh yeah,
like that's how they like open that scene. Is like the ant is on her hand while she's holding the sword, and she's like, "What the heck?" An ant,
well,
and then they pour out. It's like, our brother has been. The ants symbolize communism and its success in devouring everything.
The proletariat.
Like the ants are like, you have hurt one of us, you have hurt all of us. We shall devour you.
Communism destroying itself. Interesting.
I mean, that sounds like a metaphor.
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Okay, we've hit it. Lightning round. You ready for this?
Sure.
Okay, lightning round. I'm going to ask you questions. You get one word.
Okay.
That's all. Favorite movie?
The third.
That was 2 words.
Third.
Okay. Favorite trap?
Boulder. Old but gold.
Again, so many words.
Commenting on it.
Ickiest moment.
Ants.
Ants.
I'm the trash man.
Favorite villain?
Irina.
Okay, here's a good one. The philosophy in the quest for knowledge, how does that actually impact us in our current technological society?
I only get one word?
Yes, one word.
Can you repeat the question?
No, I cannot. I've forgotten the question. Knowledge bad? Technology? Current? Modern? That was basically the question. You get one word.
Aliens.
Okay. And what's a good one? What's another good one? Who would you be in one of these Indiana Jones movies?
Lady in Red.
Probably, yeah.
My goal would be to be Short Round, though.
I honestly would probably be Lady in Red, though. Just like the level.
Both of us go, we don't belong here, please help.
Like, I don't. It's an interesting question though. Of like, who would you be in an Indiana Jones?
I would want to be Marion.
I'd be Marcus. I'd be Marcus Brody.
Oh, you would be Marcus.
I don't understand what I'm doing here. What's going on?
He speaks 10 languages. He can blend in out of sight. He'll be gone. You'll never see him again. Excuse me.
Does anyone speak English? Perhaps ancient Sumeric.
Oh, yeah, you would be. Like, you have all the book smarts, but not the, like, practical application of them.
I need to hide in a village in Egypt? What does that mean?
You with, like, your red scarf and sunglasses and, like, very, like, notice me sort of outfit.
Ooh, look at me. I'm a tourist.
No, I would love to be Short Round, like, kind of useful, but also kind of like, oh, what's that?
Just sort of there to make the main protagonist look good.
But also Lady in Red, because I think at some point I would acknowledge, I don't belong here. I almost died like 6 times. Help!
Still wearing heels. Never
No, I think I
changed.
would have taken them off and tried to find other shoes, but that certainly, like, just... I watched a man rip someone's still beating heart out of their chest. Ah.
Okay, and if Indiana Jones, if our idea of like the religion sort of idea impacting the region, do you think? No, I don't actually know. Is Florida Man real? There's the question. I don't know.
Yes.
Is he a cryptid and like the same person, or is it actually just news headlines that don't speak well, that don't translate? Like,
Out of one word, I think Florida Man could, to a lesser scale, compare to that idea of deity over a realm in some place.
Yeah.
That Florida Man lives in many people, and channeling the spirit of Florida Man comes to those who need it in dire moments of stupidity.
Okay. I think that's the podcast.
That's it. Next time on the S.S Bandwagon.
What are we gonna look at? We're going to look at
I don't remember.
Gravity Falls. Were we? Maybe?
Were we?
I don't know.
Tune in next time.
I've been your navigator, Ian.
And I've been your cruise line entertainment, Kaylie.
Thanks for riding. Riding? Thanks for sailing with us.
Good night.